Okay, go.
Okay, so Steven is told, and then suddenly the kids come in, and now Elise tells the kids that they're about to have a little brother or sister, and the kids are absolutely shocked by this.
They are. Right prior to this is the joke that you could see a mile coming where it's pouring outside and Jennifer, is wrestling with the tent. So you can't wait to see Tina Yothers walk in having had a bucket of water poured all over her.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Waiting for that one. Like, oh, wow, I can't wait.
It's nice to see her miserable, though. I like that.
So the kids all find out. They react like horrible human beings.
Yeah, there's even Steven to some degree is like no one is really on board with this yet. It's either overwhelming shock in a negative way, or God, I don't want this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now the kids know.
Is that it? Are we? That's the commercial break, right?
And this is the commercial break. So let's take a commercial break.
Let's be right back. And we're back.
So this is where the show lost me totally, because now, like we kind of talked about, all it is just the characters talking about this situation and nothing happening. The kids are sitting in the kitchen, or no, in the living room, talking about what it's going to be like to have a new baby brother or sister.
Yeah, this is like old Family Ties season 1, where it's like you come up with an idea that you want to address, and instead of making it interesting, you just talk about it for 20 minutes, and it's just boring as sin.
Mm-hmm. Very much like this scene. I mean, again, they pump up the Mallory girly jokes with about closet space. She's gonna lose closet space because of the kid.
Oh, there's one joke in this that I thought was cute, where like when it comes immediately back from break, Steven is like, "Well, did anything else happen while we were gone?" And Elise is like, "Oh, your suit came back from the cleaners," and he just says, "Wow, this is a big day."
That was a funny joke. That was a funny joke. That was a funny joke.
Good.
I like that one. I like that one. I even wrote down for this kid living room scene. It's like, this scene won't stop. It needs to stop. Because they're just talking, fantasizing of how hard it's going to be to have a little brother or sister. I'm like, Alex, you're going off to college. Even though you're not moving away, you're still going to be pretty much out of the house for a lot of time.
Right.
So, yeah. And then if it's not bad enough that the kids have a whole scene dedicated to talking about having a new brother or sister, then we cut to late that night in the kitchen, and Steve and Elise have to talk about it some more.
And instead of writing my normal, by this point, kill me or shoot me that I have in my notes every week, this week I want you to know that I do have a less than shoot me version of it. And it's simply, oi. I have oi written 3 times during this week. Oi. I'm holding my head and saying, oi. Oh, God.
So what is the cutoff point between shoot me and oi?
I don't know. That's what I have to. I'll determine that during this 3rd season.
Okay.
Because there's got to be some tipping point that turns an oi into a shoot me.
I think we need to come up with a Corey rating system where, like, the worst is like shoot me, kill me. Kind of, right below that is oi. Yeah.
I'll have other expressions, but boy, this scene really did have problems, especially after the last scene, because it was so similar in terms of people sitting around talking about what's going to happen.
Right.
That, as we all know, that's never interesting.
It's so boring.
Something happening is more interesting than something that's going to happen.
Right. And the kids bring in some gifts. It's like, when did they have time to go get gifts?
Oh, God, we already skipped to the end of the episode. That's what you're talking about. All right. Yeah, because, all of this episode is just like the same thing over and over.
It's just...
It's 3 scenes in a row that are almost the same. The first scene that took place in the kitchen, the Shappy scene that took place in the kitchen, to me, there was some good stuff from Steven in that, where he was sort of like a bumbling comedic fool.
Right. Yeah.
And he was, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to prepare breakfast myself anymore. He was so nervous about the father, which is sort of strange for a guy who's been a father 3 times.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a dad. I don't know how all this shit works, but it's
But
just I don't know.
after you've had one, you're relatively calm for the next few. Whatever you have after that, the first one is the one that you're nervous with, that you've not experienced these things with. But after the first child, it gets a lot easier. I would imagine after 3 children, it's quite easy to say, okay, we have another one.
Right.
And especially thinking three very grown-up children, you're going to have a lot of help.
Absolutely, you have 3 babysitters.
So you guys should have another kid, like get pregnant, and then we'll do like a case study to see how you respond. We'll bring Carrie on and talk about it.
Thank God.
That'd be good.
Scott and Carrie, because I'm about to enter an old age home. So
We'll have a good contrast.
yes.
Yeah, and so I wish we could say more, but really this scene is just them talking about the potential and of what's going to happen when they have this kid, and everybody at the end of...
I like that Steven also likes Mr. Rogers, because I love Mr. Rogers.
I do love Mr. Rogers. Yeah. Yeah, and by the end of course, everybody's on board and excited about the baby, and we have this very cheesy zoom in. I don't know why they like these tight zoom ins on the tinkling carousel that the children bought for the baby.
Yeah. No, here's a question. They found out about the kid. We saw them post finding out about the kid when they're in the living room talking about it. When did they all go shopping?
That's what I was asking. I don't know when they had time to get gifts.
Who went to the mall? It's not like it called Amazon and a drone delivered it. Had this happen?
Yeah. How many cars do they have to get there? Do they all go shopping at the same time? Yeah.
What's the timeline on this? Because we seem to have scene after scene after scene here. These 3 scenes, the kitchen, the living room, and the kitchen scene, take place within, I would say, probably between 6 p.m. and midnight.
Yeah, right. That's what it looks like. Right.
And what stores open in Dayton, Ohio that late at night?
Yeah. It's... And it's like, for an episode that's kind of important, you're introducing a new character or a new factor into the sitcom. It's just bland. It doesn't amount to much at all.
I feel like this was all damage control. I feel like maybe this was them trying to be like, fuck, Meredith Baxter's pregnant. How do we, quote, fix this in the reality of the sitcom? I don't know. It seems, because it seems so ill-advised the way they wrote it, it doesn't feel like their heart was in it at all.
You know what? That is exactly right, Paul. I felt as though the same way. I felt they got ramrodded into this. It wasn't their idea for the Keatons to have another child, but Meredith Baxter Burney got pregnant. We're stuck writing either around her or having her cover herself up for a whole season. It's easier to write it in. What's the difference for us writing 3 children, 4 children?
Totally.
I agree.
And yet her heart wasn't in it, and that's what comes out in the episode. Like, damn, this wasn't our idea.
Yeah. And probably I don't want to write baby jokes and stuff like that. Like, this is going to be annoying. I love that Parks and Recreations, they wrote
and then time jump.
And then time jump so they wouldn't have to do all that shit. It was great.
Well, I mean, that's what happens in this show. This is the famous time jump of, like...
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Between seasons.
Brian Bonsall, when does he come on? This season or next season?
Either this next season or the season after. Yeah.
I think it's the season after.
When we first see him, he's what, 5 or 6?
Right, he's a baby, and then a season later, he's 5 years old.
He's 5 years old, yeah.
So it was a huge time jump.
Yeah.
Well, guys, another one down. So far, season 3 is looking pretty rough.
Yeah. There were some good jokes in this episode, but nothing to write home about.
Right. I thought so, too.
There's a line that I really liked in the first scene of the second act. Alex says, "Your parents shouldn't be having children."
Yeah.
That was a good line.
I thought that was very funny. Yeah. It's like, youth is wasted on the young. Parents shouldn't be having children.
Totally.
It was good. Well, for questions and comments, be sure to email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. QTWFT.com. You can also look for updates on our Twitter account. We are at QTWFT. All of us are on Twitter as well. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpet.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media providing its readers with daily insights and reviews of the pop culture spectrum. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the song Without Us. Be sure to check out Perry's music at perryadams.net. We also like to thank Bryant Dillon. Bryant is the president and co-founder of Fanboy Comics. He also does our editing for the show. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanboy Comics graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.